Meantime, this is what's left of the western Kentucky town of Dawson Springs, homes to about 2,700 people. The governor also has a personal connection there. It was nearly flattened. The storm uprooted trees and reduced homes to rubble. And one of my CNN colleagues is dealing firsthand with this shock of the devastation in his home state and hometown. CNN political commentator Scott Jennings right here with me. Scott, you grew up in Dawson Springs, right near where we are right now. Your parents' home, your grandparents' home, both obliterated. We're showing some footage that you shot earlier today. It is just devastation from start to finish. I do want to emphasize, fortunately, your dad did make it out safely. How is he doing today?
He's doing okay, thanks for asking. And this footage you're seeing right now, I shot from my truck window. That's the street of Oak Heights. My dad grew up there, I grew up there, my dad lives there now, and all the 3 different houses that any of us ever inhabited are all destroyed. It's just shocking when you think about the way it looked and the way you remember things, you know, from your childhood, and really the way you remember things from just a few weeks ago when you visited. I pulled up my dad's driveway today, and intellectually I knew it was the right house, but it was so disfigured. You know, the porch was gone, the garage was gone, the carport was gone, all the trees are gone. I called him. He was about to pull in. I said, "Am I in the right driveway?" Because it just didn't register for me that this could possibly be the same place. He and I were able to go through some of the rubble. You couldn't get in the front, so we had to go around the back. We had to climb over some debris, and we were able to pull out some old photos and things that he wanted to save, and we were able to do that. And honestly, I think he's just sort of still in shock and going through his own stuff. But then you walk outside and you look around, and he said earlier today, until you stand here and look at it, it's hard to process. And he was right. When I pulled into town, I'm still shocked by what I saw.
Yeah, it is like a scene out of a war movie. You can't believe that this is what happened in your own hometown, your own home state. For me as a Kentuckian, I will say it's been really inspiring for me, though not surprising to see just the resilience of people. I mean, I've talked to so many people who lost their homes but said it could have been so much worse. They still have smiles on their face. It's been incredible. No
question. I saw a lot of people out today. They had their chainsaws out and they were getting stuff out of their house, and they were moving forward, and they were trying to figure out how to move forward with the circumstances they'd been handed. Right behind where my dad lives, and I had a little bit of video of this, and I think I saw it on the drone footage as well. There's an apartment complex, though, and I tell you, it's hard to look at that and wonder if there were people in there. What happened to them when that thing hit and flattened that structure. I did talk to some police officers in Dawson as I pulled into town today, and I know they had the cadaver dogs and the search and rescue teams out going door to door. Essentially, there's still a lot of missing people. I personally heard the names of some folks who lived on that street where I was today that didn't make it. I don't think they've announced all that yet, but if you get up close to it and you see the condition of these structures, I mean, some houses were just totally vaporized. The only thing left is a foundation. Houses were spun on the foundation. Some of the cars were obviously picked up and tossed. I mean, the amount of force that would be required to do this kind of damage it's hard to fathom, if you've never been in anything like this before, and who has. I mean, the historic nature of this is such that it's even if you're an avid weather watcher, how could you ever predict something like this, let alone something in your own hometown? So my dad's doing okay, and most of my family that I've been able to track down is okay. They're just shell-shocked, and I think they're all starting to think about what comes next for a town like Dawson or Mayfield or these other little towns in West Kentucky. A lot of them are sort of barely hanging on before something like this.
After a pandemic, no less.
Yeah, I mean, these are a lot of these. This is an old coal mining town, and there's not a lot of industry. The one big industry building that is in Dawson Springs that they've been trying to put industry in for years, it was totally destroyed. And so you just start to think about the future, and what does a little town like this do when it's going to take years to rebuild, even a portion of this.
Well, the good news is that the entire country stands behind your hometown, Mayfield, and we know the fund that was set up here in Kentucky now has more than $2 million raised. We hope that, money will continue to pour in to help folks like the residents in Dawson Springs here, Bowling Green, all over, really. Thank you so much, Scott, for sharing your your personal story. I can't imagine just pulling up to your childhood home and that visceral reaction, that emotion that would overtake you.
Yeah, it was hard to see, but I have to say, and I have to compliment the governor. I talked to Senator McConnell. I talked to Congressman Comer, who was just here. I think the level of cooperation going on between the branches of government, the parties, it's really impressive, and it speaks well, I think, of our people, that we've elected folks who are willing to set aside, you know, what you would normally consider to be differences and really band together for folks who really are in desperate need. The fund is important. Also, blood donations, I'm told, are important. So if you want to help, that's the way to do it.
There are ways to help. Thank you so much, Scott.
Thanks.